Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, where part of the world you are, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony Sie, the host of the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Of course, we are broadcasting from our headquarters, Atlanta, Georgia. Do us that usual favor. This is the favor we always ask. Share the show with your contact. I continue to remind you that the search for leadership for a country that is in trouble economically, politically, and any kind of lay, my Ellen would say, continues. We should not stop searching. We should not stop digging. We should not stop asking the questions, the players, all those concerns will come to the table. Let them bring their disagreement and let us talk Liberia. It's best to talk Liberia than to fight Liberia because we've seen the fighting, what it has done to our country. And so I have chosen to be part of the talking. Sometimes the talking starts when you start talking. So let us talk. Seated, ready as guests, Benjamin Coffey, a 2023 presidential hopeful or aspirant. Ben, welcome. It's good to have you as always.
I want to say thank you, Mr. Anthony Sie. You are such a wonderful individual. I really do appreciate Focus on Liberia. I want to say hello, good morning, good afternoon to every Liberian everywhere hearing the sound of my voice. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of any discussion concerning Liberia. And I want to use this as a place for dialogue where at the end of the day, we will all learn and have fruitful results. I expect interaction from our audience. And I say I'm happy to be here and thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Ben is excited to be here to discuss. What are we here to talk about? You might be asking the Alice Cummings disaster interview. We are asking this question. My guest is saying, other than what folks in the ANC want you to believe, and some other Liberians want you to believe, that was an excellent, superb, and succinct interview, and that he was on point. He is saying, no, I disagree. Disagreement is a beautiful thing, right? And so he's here to show us, tell us, explain to us why he disagrees, and thinks that the interview actually was disastrous. Ben will make the case. Well, I will also let you know, yesterday we had a member of Team Cummings who came and said that, look, the interview was the best, it was wonderful, it was all praises, and that he didn't see anything that actually lent a shot or, that people would say, no, he didn't do good enough. But Ben sees it the other way. And that is why we are here. And we will get started. Don't go anywhere. This is Focus on Liberia. We bring them together to agree and disagree. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar.
And I'm Anthony Sie, hosting the Hour of Politics. Ben is here. Let's get started. Ben, first thing, before we go into our topic, it's been reported, and it is a fact, that yet again, another airline was traveling to our nation's capital and should have landed at our international airport. And yet again, we'll have to turn around because the current government of President George Manawia cannot keep the lights on at the airport. This is serious and is happening again. what is your take on what we all know is an embarrassing information concerning our country?
Well, the first thing I would say is lives are very important all over the world, no matter who it is. What we are experiencing now, especially airliners, want to learn in Liberia, and there's not light on the airport, as we say it in Liberia. It is it is an issue that needs to attract the attention of every Liberian. This is for safety's sake. Lives are at stake. But what bothers me is that we've been talking about the same thing for maybe this will be the third month. It shows that the government is not responsive. It shows that there's lack of accountability. Because I know at the worst, something needs to be done in terms of instituting what I call a stopgap measure. This is safety as related to human lives. So I made a post this morning in which I condemned the administration in Liberia for such glaring incompetence. They have to do something about it, because the lives that we could save could be one or more of our loved ones. So this is despicable, and something needs to be done, and needs to be done with a high sense of urgency.
And Ben, you couldn't be so strong on that. And I would say, as well as a Liberian, that I can't believe we are saying this. I mean, as though it had never happened before, and we are getting to know this for the first time. It happened recently. Air morale had to be turned around. And not only that, at some point when President Weah went to Dubai, when he was coming, the lights went off. And this is the third time. And this man who thinks he is a leader of a country, all right, whose responsibility is to provide security, to ensure the safety of our people, is yet to take any action in that regard. He said so poundly, Liberians' lives are at risk, and not only Liberians, foreign nationals who should be traveling to Liberia. The nation is being painted as a bunch of unserious people, all right, who don't care about safety, who don't respect themselves. And this is the picture the government continue to paint. This is not about politics. This is not criticism. We're talking about people's lives here. Do you know how many Liberians are discouraged right now to go to their country? And these people, when they visit Liberia, they carry money. They support businesses by buying from these businesses, foreign nationals as well. So when people stop going to Liberia, it hurts the economy. It hurts Liberian businesses. This is not politics. We should not be talking about this. You can't keep the light on, and you think you are a government that's serious? I don't know how we have to emphasize this for this government to be serious. To say we should wait for the rainy season. We get a West African power pool. Can you not take it to the airport to provide reliable electricity for our people? Many people have, advanced on suggestions like, oh, look, we can use solar. How difficult is that? How long is it going to take you? Anyway, we have to leave it there, Ben. We have to get to our topic. But before we get to our topic, you are running for president. George Weah ran for president. And yeah, he is. He's a Desmond failure. He's a complete letdown. He cares about himself. He takes care of himself. He takes care of his crony. Liberian people are left alone, and they've been shown a little market here and there when they didn't even have the ability to go in that very market to buy, and they were supposed to celebrate. This is Joshua who came and told us that he has had a country ahead. You are running. I don't see a team behind you. Are you serious about this thing?
Well, I will use the Liberian term. In Liberia, when somebody is serious, that when I was a young man, we say I'm serious like a dog killer. I will tell you this, my good brother. The need for change in Liberia is very important. The need for progress and what I call upward mobility is very important. So I am running, and I will declare this. This is a declarative statement. I'm in it to win it. Let me tell you why. There are some key things at play here, but let me tell you some. Number one, Liberians are sick of the administration they have right now. They are sick of the opposition, and Liberians are looking for a third rail. I will tell you this, one of my good things that most Liberians reach out to me for, they always tell me, you were part of this administration, but now we see you, antagonizing them. And some of them tell me we think that is good. All I'm trying to say here is we had a blueprint for Liberia. And if the team that we came with, if we see them going, outside those yardsticks, outside those guardrails, we must be bold. We must be men of integrity to say, no, this is not what we signed for. We need to change. And that's the role I'm playing. And I think that's why most Liberians are gravitating towards me. But I want to say this. In Liberia, campaign season is scheduled for next year. We are laying the necessary groundwork in terms of trying to get people attracted to our cause. But I will say this, most people have access to a cell phone and they have access to the internet in Liberia. Never underestimate the power of the internet right now. So I've reached a lot of Liberians, and a lot of Liberians have reached out to me. We have our team in Liberia, and at the appropriate time when the neck opens registration, we will be fully registered and the campaign will start. But as I speak right now, we are laying the groundwork for a very vigorous campaign in Liberia.
And Ben, you said several millions of miles away from Liberia, and you are telling me, well, they have cell phone. These people data have been harmonized. Some of them can even have 4 cell phone, all right, to keep you on the internet. And the main fact that you said here, and you haven't gone there yet, Disney is more like a one-man show. Then we've seen others who went, like, for example, Mr. Alex Cummings, who will be discussing today. He has all the money, he been on the ground, and he's not even gaining the necessary traction from my observation. How can Ben Fain, who million miles away, have not gone to Liberia as yet? The people say they don't know you. That's this big saying that hurts Cummings sometimes back.
Well, I will say this. If you compare me to Mr. Alexander, Cummings doesn't have a message. Cummings doesn't have a message. He is disorganized. He is not presenting what I would call a viable alternative. You see, what's happening in Liberia now, people are looking for alternatives to what is transpiring. Cummings doesn't have a message. And that's why that's some of the things we are going to talk about, during the course of this show today. But I do have a message, and my message, my number one message, is accountability and progress. I will tell you this, Liberia, we have all the laws, we have all the rules, we have all the policies, we have all the guidelines, we have everything to make sure Liberia is managed properly. The critical element that we miss, that we don't have in Liberia, is accountability. And that is what I'm going to enforce to the letter.
Thank you, Ben. Folks, we will now go into the topic for today. The question is the Alice Cummings disaster interview? Really? Ben saying yes. So Ben, let's start from the basics here. You've seen it, you watch it. What do you think went into this particular interview? And did you also look at the reaction thereafter, what people were saying? I want to know about the before and after the interview. What all you think went into the interview, and what the people reaction? What do you make of those two things?
Well, I would say one thing. I think the reaction, the initial approach to the interview was very poor. You see, I will tell you this, and I want to encourage everybody else who is vying for office in whatsoever capacity, they should do research. What I witnessed showed that the ANC leader did little or no research before he went into that interview. Because let me tell you this, sir, when we are leaders, when we speak, whatever we speak about should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, it should be relevant, and it should be time-bound. What's happening here, we heard headlines and we got no numbers. There was no specifics in terms of what are his alternative to what is transpiring. I mean, I would say this, to be honest with you, it was just an empty interview, and I mean, we will go more into that. And the reaction from the Spoon TV crew gave me so much sadness, because these are people who one would expect to be neutral to analyze something that was said, but it's sad to see that they were appearing as if they were like praise singers. They were appearing as if they are ANC members. And I will say this, including me, when I come here, when I say things, I want people to give critical analysis of the things that I say, because this is not about an individual. This is about a transformation of Liberia. So that was one aspect of the interview that made me sad. Thank you very much.
Well, then here is my take. As I watched carefully, and even based on my own experience since I've chosen to contribute to our country in this area, I am of the belief that that interview was more than staged, and that it was organized to project Mr. Cummings as being on top of his A game. And yet, I'm not sure he was able to impress me with his answers at all. And as we go into this discussion, I will be providing more why I think that way, and I believe that to be very true. So then, here's the thing. During the interview, at some point, after the interview, Dr. Francais said, hey, I didn't want to send a message that the question on citizenship should not have been asked. So I'm like, okay, do you get to tell the interviewer what question to ask and what question not to ask? And she is a member of ANC. Now, what that tells me is that they have more than suggested the questions, or they drew their own questions and sent those questions out to be asked as they wanted. I believe there might have been negotiation back and forth, what questions should be asked and what questions should not be asked. And I'm saying that should not be that way for somebody who claims to be Mr. Clean Hands, result-driven individual, prepared and ready for prime time. That discussion should be off the table. If you are prepared and competent, you should be able to go in any territory. There should not be any sort of arrangement about what questions should be asked and what should not be asked. It should not be. Let media people ask whatever question they want to ask. And you should be prepared to put yourself on a scale, all right, to be tested and to be cross-examined to provide your answers to the Liberian people. So I think that was what I noticed, and that was unfortunate, and I wanted to really point that out, Ben. And then, look, there was the back and forth whether or not Cummings should appear or should not appear. And this is what I've noticed, Ben. These politicians, including you, if you are an exception, I'm going to say that now because you're here. Anytime I call on you, you are coming to answer questions. But what I've noticed about politicians and even government officials, those who are in power now, media people reach out to them. We want to talk to you about this. They feel that, we have to beg them to carry on their responsibility. I believe there was a back and forth that Cummings should not appear and Cummings should appear because the Cummings folks have been criticizing the network. Some of them have held the position that Cummings is too good, that you should not go there. They fear that he will be disrespected and all that. And at the end of the day, some of them say, well, let him go. So now, these were people who were afraid of what will happen. And because of that fear, they had to arrange how the interview needed to go. And one classical example there was Francine saying, oh, you should not have asked that question, but you asked it anyway. Do you get to tell somebody what question to ask and not to ask in an interview? Seriously? So Ben, that is what I saw. I don't know about you.
Okay, my my first impression of this was from the first issue that was raised by the interviewer. The
Mhm,
interviewer asked him, say,
mhm,
what is the state of Liberia?
mhm,
I want people who didn't watch the interview to go and watch. So what is the state of Liberia? Mr. Cummings categorically came out and said it's not good. Then he cited one thing, the level of insecurity. Then he went to the economy. But let me tell you this, why he raised two good points. He gave no specifics. He gave no details. Let me tell you what I would have said if I was him.
mhm,
Liberia is not good because we have published report documentation from the World Bank, Transparency International, all the organizations that I have in my hand. It shows that since 2018, Liberia has been in the top 10 of the poorest countries in the world. This is not him speaking. We're talking about data by reputable organization. I would
mhm.
say this in 2018, Liberia was number one. In 2018, you can go and check it. Liberia was the poorest country in the world. In 2019, Liberia came sixth. In 2020, Liberia came 14. 2021, Liberia came 9. So these are documentation in terms of the status of poverty in Liberia that we can say, okay, we have people who have no political agenda, who did independent research and came out to conclusion that Liberia is poor. You see, as we talk about these things, we should back our statement with facts, with documentation. So I think that was a huge miss. And he talked about insecurity, which I thought he had a very good point there. And let me tell you what I did. I went to the LMP website yesterday because maybe there would have been some updates. I have always been on that website. There is no verifiable, corroborated, or empirical data on crimes in Liberia. That should have been even one of his focal points in terms of, reorganizing our force in Liberia. He said the crime is rife. I would say no. I would say perception of crime is rife. But based on what we have no available empirical data on crimes in Liberia. I will look at how I will reorganize that sector to bring about some kind of documentation in terms of crime so people can know the statistics regarding crime in Liberia. So I thought that was a huge miss. You see, when we are talking about these things, it saddens me because Cummings is a corporate manager like myself. Corporate life in America runs on what we call KPI. They run on numbers, on statistics. And it saddened me that when this guy speaks, he never mentioned numbers, because those are the things that reinforce your argument. They give your argument legitimacy. So I mean, those are two key things from the onset of the interview that I saw to be very, very bad, and it casted him out as unprepared, that he didn't do his homework.
Ben,
Thank you.
I couldn't agree with you more. Before I come to the issue of data and research, something I agree with profoundly, I want to also comment on something you said earlier, which is this process. So this was an ordinary interview. They had to go back and forth. They had to decide what questions should be asked and not asked. All right. I mean, that was unfortunate. I mean, is this man not confident enough? Is he not competent enough to answer any question? And then more so, the needless praises of Mr. Cummings on what is an ordinary interview. All right. And the interview did not even move the needle.
No.
And the other sad thing is that the very ANC people that have been criticizing this particular network in no time made a 160-degree turn. They were praising and thanking this network over and over. One such person who is a member of that platform is Francis, thanking this platform over and over, as though the Cummings presidents, or candidacy, or quest for the presidency was safe with that interview. Can you believe that? And I was just sitting there, I'm like, seriously? I mean, it has to do this. People are a man on a man interview and thanking a network. I mean, that's the network has turned to a savior. after they have bashed this very network, then we Liberians need to get from the mindset. Go on there, I will come to the data issue. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to come in with what what the reaction were. These are 5 reactions. These are quotes. Ben Stanby said, "You, Stanton, you were on your game tonight. I thought Mr. Cummings was very solid tonight." That was the first thing he said. And Francine Chinoway came and said, "Well, I thought he did a wonderful job. I thought he did a service to the Liberian people. That people were able to understand his vision. And meanwhile, Mr. Cummings presented no data." And Madam Yakula, she came and said, "Well, as usual, I'm not surprised. This is a man that I support. I'm not surprised he brought his A game." And Mr. Wisner said, "I thought it was splendid and very informative, despite the absence of data, empirical data." And Mr. George came and said, "I'm getting messages in my inbox. Mr. Cummings gave one of his most brilliant performances again. I think he was at his best today." But you see what I'm saying here? Look at the response. These are quotes. People can go and watch the interview.
Yeah.
When a leader comes to a network to speak about his programs, those who are analyzing it, their role is not to grant praises. Their role is to critically analyze what the leader said. How practical are the things that he said? How achievable are the things that he said? But you see, from what I gather, and these are quotes, they were literally praising the interview as opposed to analyzing or critiquing what Mr. Cummings said. And I thought that was wrong. Completely wrong.
And Ben, for most people, it's the best thing ever they've done. When they shower praises, as though just praising a man or praising an event is an achievement. And that is what saddened me. Look, this is a country that is in reverse. This is a country that is 250 years behind, all right? And the things we want to commend is just a man answering man questions, and even the answers are not solid. They are not backed by data. Let me come to the issue of data that you talked about earlier. Look, if Mr. Cummings is going for interview, he's from the corporate world. You talk about KPI. We're talking about numbers, all right? You have to come with numbers. There is saddens mean that when Mr. Cummings was talking on the issue of debts, he did not give sufficient details. Look, here's the thing. Go on the PUL website alone. It will tell you how many journalists were brutalized by the Liberian National Police. You will see over 15 incidences of journalists being brutalized. You can get data of how many persons were raped in Liberia in the last 3 months. You can give that number. Mr. Cummings did not provide that number. And here's the thing. The handlers of this man, they are lazy. They don't do research. Their only job is to just praising this man. Why don't you do research to get at least an accurate number of journalists who have been brutalized? Liberians who died mysteriously. Give a number. The number of rape cases, give that number. 0. They talk like ordinary people. Mr. Cummings are talking like the auditors and the other people died. No, the ordinary people talk like that. When a leader speaks, it should be backed by the data. The leader should give the data, and that data must be provided by his handlers. Bunch of lesser people serving as men who is not even demanding the statistics that are needed to inform his answers. And these guys sit here and just shower praises for empty and mere answers to just ordinary questions. And out of the sudden, then he has redeemed Liberia. I was saddened by that. I don't know about you, my friend. And the Crusader and the Daha, they are everywhere celebrating. Jesus has now arrived in Nazareth. They have to do better. They got to get serious here. We have a serious country to run.
Yes. One of the things that struck me was when Stanton asking about the economy. And I want people to not take my word for it. They should go and watch that interview. Mr. Cummings' answer, this is his answer. He said prices are increasing, and he said the unemployment rate is high. But let me tell you this. when we talk about the unemployment rate in Liberia, how do we measure it? How are we measuring unemployment in Liberia? I will say this, based on the available data, my brother, let the ANC people learn this. We have unemployment number for Liberia for only 2 years, 2019 and 2018. 2020, 2021, we have no numbers. Labor force, participation, we have no numbers. So Mr. Cummings should rather use that, say, oh, but the government is proving itself to be incompetent because the numbers that we need to measure unemployment, they are even unavailable. That is non-performance. There is no numbers on unemployment of Liberia. It's only 2019 and 2018. So, which unemployment is he talking about? Which unemployment? Prices are increasing, but which statistics are you referring to so that we all can go to have corroboration, to have confirmation of what you're saying? And I will tell you this, I will repeat this during the course of this show. Cummings is a corporate leader like myself. When I'm going from one facility to the next, before I reach that facility, I have all their numbers. You see, because the numbers don't lie, like they say, numbers don't lie. So when you say, unemployment rate is high in Liberia, where did you get that number from? Because there are no documentation in Liberia. There are no frameworks to measure unemployment. You see, so these are the kind of things that when he speaks, I get confused. I'm like, what is he referring to? Go ahead, sir.
And then to reinforce, and we are trying to help them here, and I'm sure they're going to come at us. We shall like, right? And that is why I do. I want, when people come at me, I feel that I'm doing something. So let's talk about corruption.
Yeah.
The thing that Mr. Cummings said he's going to fight to and there.
Yeah.
Now, an ordinary man will say, oh, the government will corrupt. The other day at the free port, or the other day at the airport. That's an ordinary man talking.
Yeah.
When a leader who wants to bring clarity to the issue in a country is appearing for an interview, you should come with the statistics and the data. Cummings should have been strong on the issue of corruption in the country. I will have cited as many audit reports as possible that have been conducted into the country, the time they were conducted, whether or not they came to a conclusion, whether people were prosecuted, zero. The number of the allegations of corruption in the country, he should have done a list to force. On this day, it was reported, LRA. On this day, it was reported. On this other day, give a list, and we should have given him that information. His handlers should have given him that information, and he should have demanded. I expect any politician in this country who's running for office should have this number. They should have a list of them. I have the list here as a media person. I have them here. When the media institution reported, I documented on this day. Why are these handlers doing then? And why are these leaders not asking for this information? So that when you appear, you're not using your own opinion, you're not using assumption, you're not speaking like ordinary person would say, oh, the government is just corrupt. Give the data. Cummings failed to do that. And somebody is telling me he did a service to the country. No, he did a disservice to the country with that interview.
I will tell you this, in line with good governance in Liberia, we set up the GAC. And you see before me here, this is the GAC audit. Let me just give a list. This is the GAC audit since the CDC government came to power. So this audit starts from 2018. The GAC has had 33 financial statement audits, 28 compliance audits, 5 performance audit, 0 project audit, 1 IT audit, and 0 special audit. What I'm telling you is these are all the audits that were achieved under the CDC. So if Mr. Cummings is talking about corruption, I have the list here as well as I have the recommendations. Mr. Cummings should rather cite numbers. I will tell you this: 33 audits. Mr. Cummings can even say, okay, those audits, all of them have recommendations. Did the government react to any of them? Then we are talking that this guy, he knows what he's talking about. Let me just give one. There was an audit into the Liberian Immigration Service. I'm telling you this, that audit report, it should be the basis for the dismissal of every official of the Liberia Immigration Services. The audit report is damning. It talks about no framework in terms of payment for visa once you arrive in Liberia. People are paying cash. You know, these are the kind of things the leader should read, inform himself. And let me just say this. Let me just break from you a little bit. Anthony, you were saying that his handlers should help him with his research. No, he should do it himself. He should rather dig the numbers up so that it is okay for him to be aware of these things. That is when he can better strategize in terms of what needs to be fixed. So he has to read enough. And let me just give
Ben, hold on. I agree with you there that he can do a research by himself. But this man is paying people.
Yep.
He got people hired. His political party right there. If he can't do it, let him designate people to do that. Give me the numbers. I want to know how many persons that have died mysteriously in the country. When I'm speaking, I want to talk about, look, when President Biden is speaking, he's giving numbers.
Yes.
When leaders in America are speaking, they're giving numbers. You come from a number-driven society and you couldn't carry that to Liberia. You're following every other person that just speak out of their mouth and just assumptions. Go ahead, Ben.
I mean, I want to get one key point. I mean, in line with the GSC, we have the LACC. Now, this is where Mr. Cummings should have glowed. The LACC, to my surprise, under George Weah, that is the information I'm giving here is since 2018. The LACC website shows that it has done zero investigation in regards to corruption or abuse in Liberia. The LACC shows that it has done zero investigation, and that should be troublesome to any leader. We have a perception problem in Liberia. You should say, what's happening here? Then you can get more information from them. But to just come and just say, oh, you know, I will fight corruption, we'll stop the people stealing. Those are blanket statements. You have to get to the nitty gritty. You have to know the numbers. You see, now, maybe now he knows. They say from their own website that they have done zero investigation. My question then would be why? With all the things that we are hearing, at least some of those allegations should be investigated.
Then let us make progress here. Another thing I noticed I wanted to discuss was that Cummings said, we will build a team of smart and qualified Liberians. The question I ask is, first of all, do we see that now? Because if you say, this guy is on record for saying, well, the best predictor of future behavior is the current. What is he doing now? Does he have the best and brightest Liberians in his cycle? Does he have the best and brightest in his political party? And what is best and brightest to him? What is smart and qualified to him? I mean, people with just credentials who are lazy and don't work. I mean, they failed the test of providing data to this man. He too failed miserably to request for the necessary data in these areas. And he is telling us that, let me go further here, Ben. So let's look at the ANC. Is the ANC as a political institution is reflection of the best and the brightest who are up to the task? I'm about results. Cummings is always on and say, well, I want to deliver the results. So let's talk about results. Where is the results now from the ANC as a political institution? Let's look at their chapters right here in the USA. Their chapters are not even functional. They don't even have all their leadership structures in place. In some states, they are completely non-existent. They are fighting among themselves. And these are the people you are telling us. This is the man who's telling us he will bring the best and the brightest. Where are the best and the brightest? Where are the smart and the qualified in the ANC that are doing the job? A lot of them are sitting on the fence. Their only strength is to praise one man, and that one man is Cummings, and Cummings does not see it. And that is frightening for me.
Okay, I want to go back to your point. The questions that was posed to him was, how can you change Liberia's situation? That was what that was. I want people to go and watch the interview. And Cummings said, number one, the economy. See, I would build a team of qualified Liberians to manage the affairs of Liberia. That was his statement. But Cummings, you see, when somebody say that, I would say first thing, for those who are listening to you, you will tell them what you think is wrong with the economy. What part of the what aspect of the economy you want to fix, and how you're going to go about it, and you will also give your timeline. Now, the next thing he said he would create an environment where people feel safe and, you know, I mean, what if he said, but yet again, there is no additional information to back up that blanket. You know, those are what I call headlines. Those are what I call tidbits. The third thing he said the rule of law, and he said we will fix the justice system. You know, I mean, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? Give me more. Give me statistics. Give me data. Give me your mechanism. Give me your roadmap. Give me your blueprints for these things. Just like what you said, if you are going to assemble a team, and this same team cannot even give you data from which you can even go on a show and speak about. I mean, how would that team fix the economy of Liberia? If the team cannot even give you the basics now, they are not managing to give you the littlest thing that you need so that you can appear on a show and be more informed. How sure are we that same team will have the capacity to fix the Liberian economy? I mean, I'm confused. I want them to come and tell me. I'm confused, because if something is broken, it's good to know that, but you must have a blueprint. You must have a roadmap. You must have something to go by. So it just saying we'll assemble a team that appears, this lazy, I don't see what they would do. So, sorry, but I think this interview was good because it exposed him as an individual who had very little or no information on the things that he talked about. Have little information, because we cannot just make blanket statements. When we are speaking, we should be giving Liberians alternatives, and we should be telling Liberians that no, the things we are speaking about, we are informed because we have done sufficient research. We might not know everything, but based on what we know, that's why we would hire the professional people to come and do the work that needs to be done. So, but he's showing that he has little or no information.
Then there is one thing I'm going to give to Cummings here. I am always fair and ruthlessly fair as well, and people don't see it. If there is a Liberian who has shown some level of consistency with his quest to serve Liberia as president, Mr. Cummings has, and it's obvious why. I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, if I were as blessed as he is, I would do the same. I mean, imagine I'm not blessed and I'm committed to the little I do here, and I'm even getting into trouble for a year. I continue. So it's something, but it's not anything for anybody to say, oh, this is kumbaya. So, but I will give it to him. But here is the serious part, Ben. Look, when you say you want to be an example, you have to be an example for, the full meaning of what an example should be.
Yeah.
A visionary leader is a one who works based on strategies. He's working, but he might likely work in vain because he's not strategic. He's not strategic at all. I mean, if you look at this party has been playing defense to a Costa and a Uri, two individuals who, other than their dirty politics, have no strategies. The ANC has been playing defense. It's that these guys have been like or 10 steps ahead of them in the CPP for a long time. Then you think about that for a moment. And the other thing I want to bring to your attention here, Ben, is Mr. Cummings said, when it comes to the CPP, the idea is stay on course. We will build, we will grow, and we will open it. You listening? We will.
Yep.
At this point, there's not a plan. There's no path. There's no strategy how to build it. All we're hearing now is will. It's sounding like Josh, we are in the CDC. We will. We are about to. We are thinking about. There is an urgency here, and the ANC folks don't see it. They're crying baby, and they don't like when I say that, but they have to see themselves in the mirror here. What is the plan? And with that plan, take into consideration the mistakes that were made in the recent past. And you come to think about one of the plans that they came up with of an MOU. And I want you to speak to that. And they start talking about jobs again. Because the first CPP framework document that I'm going to dwell on a little more later on, right? Talk about before you can be given a job, you should be known, you should be active, and you should be visible. It blew up in their face. Mr. Cummings even mentioned that during his appearance. But then this Cummings, instead talking about job in an MOU, doing the same thing over and over, repeating the same blunders, and expect that it's going to sell. Then a second, Ben.
Yes. You see, I want to just go back a little bit because I think, the individual from Spoon tried to help him, try to bring him back on track. Because I remember, you see, what all my responses, I'm going step by step. So if people watch the interview, they will hear what I'm saying literally. Stanton asked him, say, what will be your focus then? Because when he was going all about the place, Stanton said, and Mr. Cummings list 6 items. He says, stop the stealing. That's number 1. But we don't know what that means. Stop the stealing. Number 2, we will have the money to invest in agriculture. Again, I don't know what that means. 3, businesses will feel free to operate. That's how we will grow the private sector. I don't know what that means. There's no paradigm. There's nothing. Okay, number 4, civil servants will be paid constantly and paid living wages. Well, number 5, punish those who steal. Then number 6, paying people a living wage. But let me tell you this. After that, Stanton was confused. Stanton then said, okay, but then tell me, what are you going to do within your 90 days? Your 90 days. Cummings came and said, we'll have a youth program. We'll make credit available. No mechanism. We don't even know what he's talking about here. We'll stop the steal and we'll just be auditing people. And now, what I see there is representative of chaos. It's representative of somebody who is not organized, somebody who doesn't have a blueprint with associated timelines, because I see no specifics. Now to come to your point.
Well, Ben, let me ask a question. What made you think the things he listed are not specific?
Well, you see, when I say stop the stealing, this is what I would say.
Yeah, you say you don't know what that means. Are you sure you don't know what that means?
No, what I'm telling you is there is no detail. That's just a headline.
Yeah, I just want to be sure.
Yeah, when somebody says stop the steal, what I would say is I will empower the GAC to conduct.
That's the next question. How?
Yes, I will empower the GAC to conduct unannounced audits. And every audit report of the GAC will be made public to Liberians, and anybody who is found liable will be suspended immediately.
And before you continue, I have Mr. Avatuba here.
Yeah.
And for those who are listening, yesterday we have Avatuba, a member of the ANC, and he was given the opportunity to explain how Mr. Cummings did.
Yeah.
Now we have somebody who is an opposition, if I can put it that way, to Mr. Cummings, is also giving a stake. And I'm the guy who fear no one. I'm also doing my analysis along the road. So this is fair play. I said had a time, and he said the interview was marvelous. No problem. He saw nothing. There were details. But the point I wanted to make, Isaac said, Mr. Cummings said that he will use the existing institution like the GSC, the LSCC, and will empower those institutions to operate independently. And that is the how he will start the stick. Go ahead. And I just wanted to throw that out.
Yes. Then you see, when we are saying all these things, you see, they must be blueprinted, they must be documented. As we speak right now, me and you, Anthony, you can call 5 ANC people and ask for their response to 5 issues we are discussing. 5 of them will give you 5 different responses. Let me tell you why. It is due to the lack of documentation. Me and you, as we speak right now, comments come from Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, I will emphasize time and again, Coca-Cola runs on data. Cummings has no website that showcases programs. So how can we make any comparative analysis? How can we even start to discuss this man programs when they are non-existent?
My brother, when I talk about the website thing, the ANC people will send me ANC Global website.
So now you see what Isaac, called now here to say. But I can tell you this: Isaac cannot give us any framework in terms of how those things will operate. I will tell you this: if you go to my website, I have my 90 days plan. The framework is all there. It is listed in terms of what will be step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And those are what you call roadmap. Those are the documentation, and those are basis for other people to hold me accountable. And let me tell you this: it is dangerous for this man to just appear on radio program, TV program, and just talk when we don't have verifiable pieces of evidence. How can we hold Mr. Cummings accountable for what he says? I mean, how can we do that?
And Ben, I want you to comment on this. I want to get your take here.
Yeah.
There's something I raised with Isaac yesterday. ANC Global, ANC, the political party, the Cummings Foundation, Cummings, the humanitarian. Do you see anything that may not be clearer here with all these institutions? Some were somehow involved with some work in Liberia, and they want the dividend of the work these institutions are involved with to come to Cummings politically. Do you because anytime I ask for ANC, the political party website, anytime I ask for Cummings, the candidate website, they send me ANC Global website. So as a person in the media, I say, well, wait a minute, ANC Global is our political party where I can find a candidate's plan? What is that? I'm confused. Help me here.
I will tell you this: Cummings' platform is non-existent. I will be hopeful, or I am anticipating that they are working on it, but it also shows a lack of preparation. We don't put the cart before the horse. The horse is always in front of the cart. That means the blueprint, his vision, his mindset, his plans in terms of where he wants to take Liberia should have been the first thing.
No, Ben, hold on. I'm a media person. I'm always fair, yeah? I remember the ANC people sent me a PDF document that listed sectors and Mr. Cummings' bullet point actions that he would take for energy, education. They send that to me. I told them I want to see that on a website. We're in the 21st century. Cummings come from Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has a website. I mean, start sending papers to me. Start sending me PDF document. I don't have time for that. They are yet to do it. And another thing they have, hold on, Ben. Let me know. As a media person, I should provide the information on the other side. If you go on the ANC Global website, they only listed issues. And they express aspiration as to how those issues will be tackled. I am saying those things are short of what a robust plan should be for a serious institution that wants to help a country. Your take?
Yes, you see, what you just said to me is just evidence of what I would call intellectual laziness. We talk about this, how this individual was not even properly prepared to attend an interview. What I'm telling you is, if they send you individual documents, the ANC programs, policies, their visions should be used as a basis for dialogue, for debate. We should be, right now, we should be discussing superiority of people, policies, and platforms. But you see, for us to get the ANC program, we have to send email here, send email here. But why don't you make it so readily available so that we can all be discussing these things? That's all I'm saying. It's okay if they have some kind of one pager somewhere. I understand that, but these things should be readily available because they are the basis for his candidacy. They are the rationale through which people will say, well, based on what this man is proposing, that's why I'm going to vote for him. So you don't need to beg for that. It should be readily available. It should be out in the open. So it is quite embarrassing for them to even send you PDFs. I mean, like you rightly said, it should be on a website, because right now we should be discussing the superiority of Cummings programs, not the non-availability.
And then let us talk about this other aspect. I am not exempted from the problems of the CPP, unquote. If I sit here and say that I was not in some way part of the problem of the CPP, I will be deceiving. I will not be honest, Cummings speaking. So there was Cummings, right? Saying and acknowledging and accepting responsibility that the CPP fell apart into pieces because he too played a role, just as the others contributed to it. But here's the problem. Mr. Cummings claims to be an honest man, that he tells the truth. But then he will not tell us specifically how he played that role that contributed to the death of the CPP, to the confusion in the CPP. How can you claim to be honest and not tell us, hey, here are the things I disagree with that led to the trouble in the CPP? He fell short of that. And he did not come clean on how specifically he was part of the problem. He did not state the specific mistakes, decisions, and disagreement he held at the time the rest were there that led to the confusion. He did not state the things he failed to do, failed to agree with to save the CPP. What I see here is somebody claiming to be honest, but will not come clean. How can you tell me, well, I was part of the problem, but you didn't tell me what part you actually play? And I was hoping the guy doing the interview should have asked that question. So you are saying you were part of the problem. Tell me what you did, what you disagreed with. What were the decisions that you made that contributed to it? Even if the guy did not ask, he should have been honest enough to tell it. He did not. And that was sad.
Now, you see, I want to say two things in response to that. You see, I'm a little bit harsh on him because Cummings should know better. Cummings is a corporate leader. Let me tell you one thing. In every contract, whether it's marriage or rental or whatever contract, merger alliances, there is always expectation of dissolution. That is, something can happen where this thing will dissolve. There's always an expectation because, there's always, no matter what. But let me tell you this. This is what it bothers me, because Cummings should have known this. Cummings should have insisted that when or if there were to be anything where the CPP would dissolve, the dissolution should be handled through what we call arbitration. This is law of contracts, and this man, he's a corporate leader. He should know that. Let me tell you why I say that. That is very important, because arbitration is different from a legal process. So you see, if he had inserted that clause, which I'm surprised he didn't put there, Euro would have had no basis to take him to court, because any matter arising out of that framework document or within the operation of the CPP would have been handled through arbitration. But I think he was opportunistic. he felt that if I go to the CPP, I will gain numerical advantage that will push me to the front. And just like what you're saying, if he's saying that I'm, I have part to play in in how this thing dissolve, at the very least, you got to tell us which part you played. You got to, you got to give us the facts so we can weigh it. But you see, he withheld that evidence for reasons best known to himself. But I will tell you this, and I will continue to say it. He surprised me as a corporate leader in signing contracts with no exit strategy or a framework for arbitration.
Ben, look, I want the best from Liberia. Cummings is a good man. There's no question about it. But being a good man is not enough. Being a good man is not enough for leadership, especially for a country that is dying. We need visionaries who can come to deliver this country. We're not going to allow anybody to come with platitudes, and I, Anthony Sincere, will say, well, that will call it. No, I will ask questions. These people must be challenged so that they can wake up, so they can do more. And that is the basic. That is my reason for asking harder questions and digging deeper. Let me get back to this thing, Ben. The issue of Ghana, he talked about it. Yes, we went to Ghana. The two of us were in the room. On the question of who initiated the meeting, he was not prepared to say it. Whether it was him who said, look, Mr. Bwaka, let us meet. Mr. Cummings did not say that. He chose and deliberately refused that. He needed not to tell the Liberian people whether it was her idea to call Mr. Bwaka and say, can we meet? And so that we can agree on something to save the CPP. He was not prepared to say that. He said, well, it was an agreement, was arranged, the two of us, the two sides arranged it. The two sides arranged it, but whose idea it was? Mr. Cummings will not provide that basic and simple information. Why? So let's put it this way. If it were Mr. Cummings' idea, all right, to say, let us meet Mr. Bwaka, wouldn't it have been a good thing for him to say it? To show that, he wants the CPP to survive so that as they claim the man made president, we had a one-term president for them to succeed. Will he not be, why he chose to not say that? And because he did not say that, one can also think that probably it was Mr. Bwaka's idea that Cummings come, let us meet. Why something that basic and simple will have to be hidden by this man? And for what reason is he hiding that?
Let me answer that. You see, Cummings' action from the inception of what I would call the implosion of the CPP shows his inability to manage a crisis. You see, one of the things about corporate leaders, they charge you with what they call crisis management. I don't know if he didn't pay attention when he was being trained to that, but I will tell you this: the issues within the CPP, if initially the ANC, because I'm looking at the ANC to be the so-called mature group, if the ANC had managed that process well, we wouldn't have been here today. We wouldn't have been here. So all that we are talking about is what I call aftershocks. Cummings has exhibited to Liberians that he has an inability in terms of crisis management. If we can manage the CPP, how can we manage Liberia? If we can manage the CPP, let me tell you one thing. The press conference that the ANC had, I thought it was the most disastrous thing they had ever. You calling Uri, gun smuggler, war criminal. You calling, but this man is your partner.
A puppet master.
Yeah, he's your partner. Let me tell you what I would have said. I would have instructed my people to, we have some internal problems within the CPP. Mr. Yuri is our partner. We will do everything possible to try to resolve that problem. Even if Mr. Yuri is cussing me, I will take the high road. That's how you manage crisis, you know. But you don't come and you send your lawyer out there. He's insulting Yuri. I mean, it's two wrongs don't make a right.
And at the same time, you want to be in a collaboration with him.
That's what I'm saying. It shows Mr. Cummings' inability to manage crisis. So this is big. So all that what you're telling me, whether he organized a meeting, he was the initiator. Are those any details that you should withhold? Those are small details. You can tell anybody who started the meeting. Even if it was you, it showed that you were magnanimous. It showed that you want to get this thing resolved. I mean, that's not a sign of weakness. That's not a sign of weakness. So I don't know why you can't tell us that. You know, so all I'm trying to say is,
and yet you are claiming to be honest. So where's the honesty when it comes to that?
Cummings has successively exhibited an inability to manage crisis, and this should make Liberians scared. Thank you.
Then another thing I will come to, and on this one, it will be on this Cummings mantra and the ANC mantra that we cannot be doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. And I will be a little historical. And this is about democracy. I'm talking about participatory and representative democracy here. I will say this much then. And it is about the ANC saying and doing everything now for Joseph Walker or the Unity Party not to fee a candidate on the basis of a framework document that I believe that Cummings contributed to, that was an embarrassment to the country. They said they hired lawyers and they have no idea what they crafted was bad for themselves to begin with before talking about, because it was not for Liberia, it was for them. It was a job distribution document that they crafted. And what they did, they closed it. The idea that they would even use their individual political party logos as the logo of this thing is Cummings, this guy sitting there, and he felt that that thing had made sense. Seriously? But here's the crux of the matter, Ben, that I want to speak to. Look, representative democracy is not a private corporation. Under our laws, our constitution, each citizen has the right to participate. They wrote a contract that violated equal participation in employment. That is what they did. And that is sickening. And Cummings was in the room and he had affixed his signature to a document that violated the Constitution, that violated equal participation on our laws and in our country. We are a democracy. This is not corporate America where you can restrict people and talking about there is actually nothing like an anti-competitive process in a democracy or an electoral democracy. There's nothing like that. There is nothing that can do that you put a document together that can stop somebody for exercising their right. That is sickening. First of all, they claim with all the Unity Party, they can win this thing. But then let them go. Don't initiate any effort to stop them. And Cummings in his own political party, there are no primaries. No primaries. In the ANC, Phoebe Henrys was selected to run as an ANC candidate. I did not hear about a primary. That woman was handpicked. I did not hear about a primary in the ANC. That in ANC, let's do our primary. When that woman is selected, then we can pull him forward for the CPP. It did not happen. The ANC people argument is that, well, nobody want to run in ANC, only Mr. Cummings. So Mr. Cummings to himself, let me say this. Are you now bringing people to the fold? Will you always be the only one? This is the thing of the past that he's doing. I mean, there are young leaders in the ANC. They got people. I would say that. They have people. Let these people compete against Mr. Cummings. The idea that nobody wants to compete, you can't force them, is to say that Cummings is so good, he's the answer to Liberia, so everybody going to follow this one man. God forbid. God forbid. Why if something happens to him? The political institution does a natural death immediately. And this is what the ANC people think we should take. ANC people, do you really want us to take this thing? Come on, man. You can do better. So
yes, I will just react to that. I will just react to that. You see, the whole thing about the ANC joining the CPP, it was an acknowledgement that the ANC had numerical disadvantage. They acknowledge that they don't have enough to win anything. So they assume that by joining these people, by combining with them, we will have numerical advantage or numerical strength. But let me tell you this, they ask, the thing about no primaries and all those kind of things, you see, it bothers me because we are professing to be the alternatives. We are professing to be the guys who can do things right, the guys who can do things better. So we must do everything possible to actually do what we say we are going to do. I mean, what you just raised is critical. We have a convention where we have only one party candidate that is so say, oh, Cummings is the only presidential candidate in ANC. Phoebe Herons is the only guy. No. These things, when we assume these people have a lot of people behind them, let's put them out so other people can contest against them. If they win, they win. But we are, like you said, we are doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So we are no different from the people we are criticizing. We are no different from them. So, all of this thing about, I'm better, I don't want to believe them no more. I want to see them and I want to see you do them. So it saddens me.
And then both Cummings and Bwaka, right? They don't promote participatory democracy. They did not promote participatory democracy in the CPP, the way they wrote the CPP document. So, can you imagine these people they are discouraging, they are purposefully, all right, and intentionally discouraging young people to participate in the process. So let me start with Bwaka, and the reason I'm doing that is to contrast that with Cummings, because the Cummings side is claiming that they are the better side, right? And that they are not doing the same thing over and over. Now, here is Bwaka. This man, if you look at Gaffwan is a 50 years old man, I want to believe.
Yeah.
Is he now grown enough to run for president? Why can the Unity Party as an institution open a primary process where Bwaka can compete? What is wrong with that? My young brother George Lobo, why he can't go and compete? Stephen Johnson. People in the United Party, nobody in this political party can compete, at least. And they all come together and seeking a kumbaya song for a one man. God forbid something happens to him. That's the time you'll be running to go look for Gaffwan.
Yeah.
And the Gaffwans of the world, what's stopping them? Are they helpless? That they will all wait for this man called Bwaka, God forbid, to pass before any man in Unity Party or any woman in Unity Party, hold on, man, to say I will run for president? And then on the same side, Cummings does the same thing, the ANC does the same thing that Bwaka is doing, and yet claims that it is better, the ANC is better than the Unity Party and Bwaka? Seriously? No. Either they are worse for saying that you can't be doing the same thing, and then yet they do the same thing. That what makes them worst. Your take, Ben.
Yeah, well, I want to say one thing. Like the issue you raised is I mean, it's a big thing. I would chalk it down to what I call socialization. You see, even me, with me, like you just mentioned, ages of other people. I'm way in that age group. But the problem is, Liberia is a society where there is a mindset thing about the old man being smart. And one guy, I mean, I just heard a guy say it last time. He said, you know, they are they are young fools who can grow to become old. All I'm trying to say is not all the old people that are smart,
That
but
is
then
a
you come,
fact.
you see, then you look at the young folks. I mean, how much, I mean, how do these young people see themselves? I mean, you just call some great names, Gaffer and all those people. Why are they not saying, well, I want to run against this, I want to do this? Because of the kind of social construct that they have placed themselves in and they have accepted. That's why, and now as me and you speak, I get emails, I get texts, I get, oh my man, oh, you're here not straight, you read, because they see me as an outlier. They see me as somebody who want to break that. And I want to encourage other Liberians, qualified, competent Liberians, to become part of this process. We cannot allow the election to boil down between George Weah and Joseph Boakai. We cannot allow that. That's impossible. This election should bring out the best in Liberia. This is not the best we have to offer. I mean, I'm just like you said, there are many good guys in the Unity Party, many good guys in the ANC. Where are they? Because of socialization, they accept what is ongoing. Some of them won't even speak up when their leaders do things that are wrong. We should all speak against that. I want them to come out and let everybody be part of this process so that at the end of the day, Liberia will have a better end product.
Mr. Cummings is on record when it comes to the CPP for saying, let us follow the process. Whatever the outcome going to be, I will live with it. In other words, it meant that let's go to the primary. If I don't win, I will accept the results. Fine, Mr. Cummings. Show me a primary in your party that you participated in. and Ben, you are laughing, and our friends don't see it. And when we are telling them,
You
look,
know, sorry if I
democracy,
didn't laugh, I will cry.
democracy is it should be participatory. It's a representative participatory democracy. We should open it up. Now, Obama was young. He competed against Hillary Clinton. Hillary didn't say, whoa, where's this guy coming from? Even Joe Biden, who served as senator for over 30 years in the Democratic Party, who served as vice president for 2 terms, was subjected to a primary process. The Democratic Party did not say, whoa, we have Joe here, why are we wasting our time? Because it's obvious he's going to win anyway. He was subjected to a process that he won.
Yeah.
ANC, Cummings cannot provide leadership. Even the party feel that they are helpless. They don't have their own mind. They don't even see the need for a competitive primary process in the ANC that will produce Mr. Cummings. They do not see it. And then I'm looking at these people and say, who are these people? You don't see the need for a primary process to produce Cummings? And now you're raising your fingers at Boakai. You are worse than the Unity Party, because you are criticizing them for something you are doing that is hypocritical. How is this thing not simple for anybody to see, Ben? Talk to me.
Okay, no. There are 2 things I don't want us to leave, because I know we're almost close to our time.
Right.
During the interview, Mr. There was this issue of the Liberian government debt.
Mm-hmm.
Borrowing and his passport. So those are things I don't want us to leave. So you can go ahead, but I would just want us to talk about.
Yeah. Then and you can start with the passport issue. If and I have a strong opinion when it comes to the passport issue. So go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, with the passport issue, I will tell whoever can hear the sound of my voice this: Mr. Cummings should be bold enough, to say he's a Liberian that carry an American passport. There's nothing wrong with that.
And to his credit, he said it before in 2017.
That's what I was surprised. He was hesitant to answer the question the last time. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't fault him for that. In my eyes, no matter what, he's a Liberian. In my eyes, you know, there are some people who want to put legal things to him, fair enough. But in my eyes, he's a Liberian. So I don't see anything. You know, that's why I was surprised that he was hesitant to answer that. You know, I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, for me, this thing should be may the best man win. It's not whether the man got a Greek passport or the man got a passport from here. No, no, no. In my eyes, he's a Liberian. And I think he should be bold and say, well, I'm a Liberian, but I carry an American passport. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
And Ben, it's a good point. I had it in mind, and I'm glad that you remember that. Look, Mr. And that is the fairness about focus on Liberia. And for me, I'm tough, even though I'm nothing, but I try to be tough. Mr. Cummings was on record. He said, I am a Liberian with an American passport. 2017, he said that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this gun interview, he intentionally chose not to say the truth, because the question was more so about either he's an American citizen or with an American passport and at the same time a Liberian passport. I will say that for the fact that, look, I am a Liberian. And he said, I'm a Liberian.
Yeah.
He fell short of saying, and I carry a United States passport. Now, of recent, Ben, there was a directive from the Justice Ministry, which says that all Liberians who are in foreign countries or have acquired foreign passports, they are qualified under the law to go and obtain their Liberian passport, because one remains a Liberian until a due process is granted that person is not a Liberian.
Yeah.
And I also feel strongly that they think about us Liberians. We know our brothers and sisters were all born in Liberia. I still have my Liberian English in my mouth, despite all the time I spend here. And somebody going to tell me because I carry a U.S. passport, you see, I'm now a Liberian. Yeah. No matter what I do, I can never be the American that you are thinking about. Yeah. No, I don't feel it in my skin. It's not on my tongue. It's not in my mind. No, it's just a paper. So I expected this Mr. Clean, honest man to be honest for the honesty he claims that he has in his DNA. That, look, I am a Liberian and I carry a U.S. passport. And I also carry a Liberian passport. And I want Liberians to ensure that Liberians have dual citizenship. It is the right of every Liberian. Cummings will not speak with authority and clarity on that issue. He did not show honesty, and that is sad. And for my big brother Ava to say that was a splendid interview, it was marvelous. And when he fell short of all the details and data, I see he got bombed by your boy. Yeah, I invited this man. He went to seek approval from other people. If the ANC had their talking point, their policies, that all the communication people can agree with, any of them can show anywhere, because you already have an agreement what to say. And they will now respond to a journalist request for 3 days. I have to get back to him, Mr. Communication Director. I sent information to you. You saw it. You don't want to respond to me before you have to respond. I will cut these people out. When you want to do this thing, do it. You're not forced to come. I'm not saying you're forced to come. We can say, I don't have the time, sir. Answer me. Don't give me all the runaround. And these people, if they want to rule our country, it's our job to hold them accountable. And it is their job to hold us accountable as media people to be fair on everything. And I don't fault them for that.
All right, Anthony, two things I want to say. First, let me talk about the debt. You know, when he was approached about that, he said, he was asked, will you continue to borrow? This was his answer. He said, we will reduce the idea, we'll reduce the idea of dependency, we'll promote self-sufficiency. And he said, debt is not a bad thing if you use them well. But you see, this is what, again, I call for more meat. Government have most time two types of debt: domestic debt, foreign debt. You know, and Cummings would have scored more if he only knew the number of the Liberia international debt, which is the most important because it's in US, dollar, and we have contractual obligation to pay and pay on time, but I can categorically tell you that he don't know the number. And I can tell you here, for me, from 2018 to right now as we speak, the Liberian national debt, the international debt of Liberia has been increasing. And this is what Cummings could have come and said, well, we are borrowing, but we are not seeing the fruits of the monies we are borrowing. Maybe there can be more in terms of application of these funds so that it can benefit Liberians, and that can also spur the economy, whereby we'll be able to repay some of these debt. Cummings doesn't know I can give you the exact number of Liberia's international debt from 2018 to right now as we speak. But these are what I'm saying. These are the relevant numbers that will back his assertion. So if the ANC people are trying to look at me, I think they should even see me as helping them. You should come with the facts. You should come with numbers. And one last thing you said, he compared Liberia to Guinea and Sierra Leone. And I don't know if he didn't know. He said their economy is going up and our economy is coming down. I want to tell him, no, since 2016, Guinea, Sierra Leone, their economy has been declining. They have been declining. Liberia economy has been relatively stable. You see, that's what you have to do your research before you come on these programs. I went to the World Bank and I found that statistics very easily, and it disproved his point. Guinea is not rising. Sierra Leone is not rising. No, they are going down. They are declining.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben, and thank you, folks in cyberspace. This is Focus on Liberia. This is your provocative program, The Hour of Politics, with no other but Anson Sincere. And for those who can't stand me, you will get to stand me one day. I've had that experience. There are people that watch me for the first time and say, who is this guy? I hate this guy. I don't like this guy. Then they kept watching. The next thing I know, they said, I think I like your program. What I'm doing is, even if you support the person, which is your right, and there's nothing wrong with that, ask the questions. Don't praise them. That is not your praising. Human beings should not be in the business that people engage in, especially when it comes to politics. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll read your comments. All right? A short break. Don't go anywhere. It's time for us to hear from you. We will be reading your comments. All right, folks, thanks for staying with us here. And we will now go to your comments. We'll read as many as we can get to quickly here. I think we should start from the bottom of these comments. Let's start from the bottom here. Let's see. Okay. Mr. Larry Kennedy writes, that's not true. Guinea economy has been far better than Liberia. Liberia has an unstable economy. Ben, I will tell you, Larry is an economist. He followed these things, so that is it.
I do have the numbers, so I don't know what I'm quoting World Bank data. Guinea economy dropped radically since 2016. So I don't know what you're saying. I will send it to you.
Okay. This is from Liberia. Way to country devil. Anthony C. Please ask Ben. Coffey 2023, why will be his priority as president for the first half of his term, and what is a 90 days plan? Ben says 90 days plan is on his website, Coffey2023.org. Go there. This is not about Ben. Today we are discussing Mr. Cummings' performance. This one here from Mark Makate or Deba Kanga watching from Buchanan City. The people are watching all over the place, but the Cummings people think that no one is watching us in Liberia, so they can come here. George P. Lobo, you didn't see Cummings struggling to answer some questions. From John Smith, George Lobo, Lee's Cummings came out. Where is, oh no, we don't talk here like that. We show respect to people. Let me read this one from George Lobo. If Mr. Cummings was struggling to answer questions from a stage interview, I don't know how he would do then. And something I want to say, so some folks in the ANC, I've advised in the ANC now, he shows up here all the time. We have Muriah Akula, we have Levi Thompson, we have Doug, we have Anthony Gay. We have, some people that with Anthony Gay is always willing to come. George Lobo from the Unity Party also willing to come anytime. And George Lobo has even appeared here more than any other political surrogate, in my opinion. Hamilton Zilli, but George Lobo will not bring his Papa JMB. They are so afraid. I don't know what they think I'm going to do to this old man. They are so afraid. They are cowards. Cowards. More Ali here, he got himself into a situation. We had Colina Kratuba, I'll get back to her. But Muriah Akula is yet to come on the hour of politics. The last time she says she was going to respond to my message, but I'm still waiting. We're searching for leaders. And you want to do this thing, you got to do it, man. If you will say nothing wrong with someone who holds an American passport and wants to be president, then I'm afraid that you do not know Liberian law. I hope you are not in the same train with ABC. Whatever the same train is, if you're talking about American passport, oh yes, I have one, my brother. I have one. I'm not going to tell you. I have one. I am a son of Sastan. If I show up in my village, I want to run, my people are not going to ask for that damn thing. So you better get it. I am a Liberian and I remain a Liberian. That stupid law, I don't get time for it. And that's my opinion. If you are disgusted about me for that, it's your business. It's your business. I'm a Liberian. Somebody can't deny me my right in my country. Nonsense. As soon as you can give us credit, George Lobo, I give you credit. I seen thing with the politicians. They want credit for everything. They want credit for everything.
George Lobo want to take over the show.
Isaac Harris, listening at you calling the man Mr. Clean. Go join one of the campaign, my man. It's your God-given right. I don't know whether he's talking to me. I don't join no campaign. Even Ben, who is my friend, yeah, I'm on his back. I'm not sure he's running for anything yet, And Ben does not take offense to that, except for the unit of the ANC and the Unity Party folks. It's not my job to press people. Melvin Sharif here, but the law says if you have American passport, you cannot be president or VP. That's what the law says. And I respect the law, but I just beg to disagree. That's all. Mapuswa, at this time, I mean, all this is happening. And where is small Peter Pan? So whether we don't go for this kind of, childish kind of thing, man. We're talking serious business here. You can't talk about Peter Pan here. I mean, people need to guess. When you come to the platform, don't bring your phone here. We don't phone people here. I'm a serious man. Cummings, are you an American citizen? No. Or did you finger the framework document? No. But how, man, no, this person didn't do it right there, so I'm going to leave that one there. All right, this is the communication director. I think, did they just change the position and give him something else? But he was, I believe. Okay, I'm out of here. We had a convention that made ABC stand a barrel. How did you miss that? This is where ABC is on a much bigger pedestal. He is on as Mumba Yaba, let me hear, man. We said the man competed. There was no competition.
Yeah.
There's no competition in your party when it comes to primary or produce a presidential candidate. Do you not understand that? He's on a higher pedestal. That is what it means, at a higher pedestal. Nonsense. I care about your pedestal. We're talking about a country and say the man is higher. He's higher than me. Is that the kind of, then look at the language. This guy, this is a communication director for Cummings. Cummings is higher than me. Is that why you bring to national disco? We Liberians, we are equal. We own the country equally. And you're telling me the man is higher than me? We're not talking about who has more money here, brother.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I want you to respond to that guy. I'm not going to let these people to just think that they're going to take us for a ride. And since you're friends, so you don't want to respond, I'm giving you the opportunity.
I mean, I can respond, young but like, I don't know what he means by higher. I don't know what he means. Is it financially, financially, politically, or by height, or by, I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know either. I think that's the best answer that we can give. I really don't know either. All right. This one from John Smith. Thanks. The immediate leaders around Cummings need to step up their game. And that's why we're telling them, and they don't want to see it. We help them, but they don't see it. Or Kai Jebo, say whatever you want to say, guys, but ABC is moving forward to the 2023 general and presidential election. We want him to move forward. And we have to say our own. So, Mr. Jebo, we don't have a disagreement here. Let's hear from this person. Brother Cummings should take these critical minds and thoughts in stride and readjust if necessary, and it will benefit him. Let's hear from Comrade Momba K. Yobo Jr. here. Answering, you are wrong because no one contested against Cummings does it mean there was no process to elect our standard bearer. This is the only party, there's no context. I mean, the man is being elected on web battle all the time. 2017, it was the same thing. Then the other election coming is the same thing. Do you really have a political party? they see nothing wrong with that. Mumbai again, that ban is making this election Wia and Mbwaka is even unfair. that ban is making this election about Wia and Mbwaka is even unfair to himself. Talk less of Cummings. Anthony Gay, Mr. Finn, what's your platform for Liberia? Anthony C. How the ordinary folks will know about Mr. Finn will do for what Mr. Finn will do for Liberia. Mr. Finn is here. I'm not here to run his campaign. I'm going to charge him for that. He's not here for campaign. He's my guest to talk about Mr. Cummings. Like you have from Randall Thompson here. Musa Bedete on undercover. Okay, Musa Bedete is an undercover agent for the CDC government. He will turn on Cummings the soonest. Musa Bedete will forget him to go for primary. Watch and see. This person is prophesizing here. Lots of comments, folks. We want to say thank you for all your comments. Ben, you listening to the comments? Time is fast, Ben. Your take.
Yeah, well, I want to say thank you to all of our guests who have chosen to interact with us. Listen to all of them. I want to say, these things are good because we must interact, we must dialogue. We can disagree, but at the end of the day, something productive will come out of this that Liberia will gain from. So, I just welcome everybody. I don't know if it's time for me to give my last word or.
Oh no, you're just responding to the comments.
No. I mean, to Mr. Youngboy, I just want to say you're my good friend and brother. We talk most of the time, and I don't think nobody's trying to put anybody down or anybody up. We just discussing. You see, these are what we call constructive engagement, constructive dialogues. We have to agree to disagree at times. We don't want to insult anybody, but we want to exchange ideas. So at the end of the day, like I said earlier on, Liberia will benefit. So it's nothing that we hold against this individual, to say he's a bad person, this and this. I think most of the things that we mentioned here today, they are even helpful to Mr. Cummings. So I can bet you the next time he goes on any show, he will have numbers. I can bet you that. So I don't think this is something bad. It's just that we listened to an interview and we had opinions in terms of what we listened to. And for me, I thought, I mean, his answers to all of the issues that were raised were not sufficient enough, and I thought the reaction of the host and his team, they were not the best. I don't think they were helpful to him. So, you know, we live and learn. You know, I anticipate that when we get to Liberia, we will encounter him, and we look forward to vigorous dialogues, because Liberia deserves better. As we sit right now, the depth of Liberia continue to rise. Poverty in Liberia continue to rise. I mean, Liberia is failing on almost every statistics that we talk about. So we all have to be invested in doing things different and doing things better so that Liberia can gain something. We do not hate the ANC. I have many good friends in ANC. We do not hate Mr. Cummings. Mr. Cummings, I think he's a nice man, but we have to do what is right and what is fair for Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. This one from Nelson Freeman. Anthony said, you are trying hard to get an interview with Mr. Cummings to validate your show. But trust me, you are not getting none. That's how he wrote it. Your show going to remain at that 24 viewership rating, brother, he said. So he said, I'm desperate to get Mr. Cummings, and it's not going to happen. And that my show will remain to the 24. If 24 Liberians can listen to me, I will celebrate that, because we will get substance.
Even if one
will get substance. Yeah. And what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to buy views for Mr. Cummings to come. They go to places where people buy views. And for your information, my program is on the radio. Thousands of Liberians are listening. Even on the social media, you may see few people watching live, but several thousands watch later. Take your time and go on our Facebook page. Take your time and go on our YouTube page. You will see several thousands of Liberians following Focus on Liberia. You just miss it. But I respect that. Then this one from Mianta Stella Herrings. For heaven's sake, Anthony, please stop with this listing. The T is silent. Please, just stop with this listening business, man. As a media person, you yourself must do your own homework. YouTube will pronounce the word for you. I am a media person. All right, I appreciate that. And that's the criticism we want, Ben. So why have Mr. Cummings people taking offense to that? When you critique people, it's for them to do better. We all have our own limitations. There are certain things we overlook, certain things we don't do better. That's the essence of critique. Look at what you just, or shown to me. I like that. So next time I'm pronouncing the word listing, I will say listen. I will not pronounce the T. As a media person, that is a good critique. I want to say thank you for telling me that. Can Mr. Cummings man on and say thank you? Can Mumba or Yobo man on and say thank you, Focus on Liberia? Even though I disagree, but I respect your critique. Maybe I'll find something that can they do that? They will not do it. They will come and justify. Yeah, it's a critique for me. I did not justify. I accept it and I'm going to improve on it. That is the essence of this platform, folks. Do you not see that? Let me read one more comment, and then, Ben, we will be getting your closing here. Let's take this one from Tiola Gibson. I know you have all the strategies. That's why Bwaka can't speak without a cheat sheet. When he was on Spoon, he couldn't talk about himself without reading. Well, we will stop this far. We will stop this far for the comments. And folks, we want to say thank you. Thank you so much. But wait for my closing. It will bite. Ben, your closing.
I want to say thank you to all of our guests, all of our
listeners,
viewers. I want to say a big thank you there. We look forward to more interactions with you guys. And let me just say this to all my friends in the ANC. During that interview, one of the most important aspects or item that I think was raised was insecurity in Liberia. Cummings had a point. When we talk about insecurity, we must point to the statistics. It is unfortunate that the LNP has no verifiable statistics. I'm talking about that is online that everybody can access and get a sense of crime as they occur in Liberia. So I think that is one thing that all of us should kind of emphasize, and we should kind of insist that these things be established. Insecurity, nothing will work when there is no peace. There's nothing that will work. So I thought that was one key point that he raised, but I wish he would have done more, and I wish that he would advocate for more. But now, next thing I want to say is the ANC has lawmakers. I want them to develop a legislative agenda. When people are elected, they should go to the legislature with an idea of what they want to do and what they want to, where they want to take Liberia. It is not okay to just elect people and just put them in the house and they do whatever they want to do. So every party, I will plead with them to develop what I call a legislative agenda, so that those who stand in their name should be able to advocate or push those, those agenda items so that Liberia can get better. Last thing I want to say is it is unfortunate that for the last 4 years of this of the CDC, Liberia has been in the top 10 of the poorest country in the world. And I will emphasize this: in 2018, the first year of the CDC, Liberia was number 1, the poorest country in the world. That is frightening. That is bad. And from that interview, Cummings said Liberia is not poor. Liberia is poorly managed. I agree with him. Liberia is not poor. Liberia is basically poorly managed. So we have to do everything possible, craft policies that will alleviate the plight our people face. Liberia, again, I will emphasize, is not poor, it's poorly managed. We can do better. My final word is, every Liberian out there hearing the sound of my voice who feel that they want to be part of this race, I want them to come and join. The election of next year, I want it to be an election that will be won based on the superiority of someone's idea. I don't want that election to break between Boakai and George Weah. That would be my worst nightmare. Every competent Liberian who think they can make an impact in this race, I want to open my arms to you. I want to invite you. Come in this race, so that at the end of the day, at the end of our dialogue, our interactions, Liberia would benefit. I want to say thank you to Anthony. Thank you to Focus on Liberia. Thank you to everybody, wherever you are. I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, for always coming. I will read this comment and I'll close. Anthony Gay writes, Mr. Alexander B. Cummings Jr. has been on this platform and willing to come on here this and any day, Mr. C, but speaking to another aspirant concerning our political leader does not prove an independence on your part. What kind of logic is this? So he's confirming that Mr. Cummings been here, and he's right. Mr. Cummings was here 2 times, right? And Mr. Cummings said something. He talked about the race. He talked about the government. And by the government, he talked about, it was fair. But now I have another person running for president. He's talking about Mr. Cummings. I'm not independent. What kind of logic is that? I don't get it. Well, Mr. Gay, you are right. Mr. Cummings has been here, and he said Mr. Cummings is willing to come anytime. I'm not sure that he's willing to come anytime. He's not willing to come anytime. I don't think so. If you think he's willing to come anytime, give me a call today and tell me he's coming tomorrow. I will be right here. Can you prove yourself right now? No, you will not do it, my brother. Mr. Cummings is not ready to come anytime. Mr. Cummings wants to come when he thinks that everything is set for him. Then he wants to come. This is my closing. The search for Liberia's next president has been taken for a joke by people who are supporting the politicians. I understand it is their role to tell us they got the best guy, but to think that that is enough to say, oh, I got the best guy, just vote for him. We're not going to buy another pig in a bag. That is what we will not do here. We will ask them questions. And the sad part that Mr. Cummings, who claims to be Mr. Clean Hand, Mr. Honest Man, the man who believes in results, the man who has come to stop doing things over and over, will come. And all we see is the only man in the political party who's running. Let people tell what more so the only man in the Liberian People's Party who was running. Lebacus Matthew was the only man in the UPP who was only running. Charles Taylor was the only person in the MPP and running. Just like, what's his name? Mr. Freeman in the MPC will be the only person. Just like the NDP, Samuel Doe will be the only person. These things have been done over and over and over. Just like President Weah, for the most part, has been the only man in the CDC. Mr. Cummings entered the political race and is doing the same exact thing, and the justification is, oh, there was a process, nobody contested. Bronskin came in the Liberty Party. He was the only person. Prince Johnson in his party, whatever the name is, he has been the only person. Alice Tyler in his party, the only person. In Liberia, people form parties to run. What's his name? Nathaniel Barnes, he had his own party. He was the only person. Look, I'm giving you statistics. I'm giving you numbers. Records of individuals who came to the political play, formed political party, or were in political party. It was only about them. That is the same thing Cummings is doing. The idea that the political party ANC cannot come up with a primary for us to have 2% contesting, and the justification is that, well, nobody wants to contest. I don't know what to make of it. I would not buy that excuse. Participatory democracy must involve the participation of all the political actors. Cummings does not have monopoly over leadership. Cummings does not have monopoly over ideas. I mean, come to think about it. Does he have all the answers? He's the only man in that political institution, and all other persons in that party have no ideas, have no ambition, nothing. Then where is participatory democracy? Where is it? Waka does the same thing. You criticizing him, that he's entitled. He won't say all. And Cummings is doing the same thing, and in your mind it's different, and you don't even see it. I will show it to you even if you refuse to see it. Look, life, they said tomorrow is not guaranteed to anyone. Anything can happen today. When Bronskin left the Liberty Party, we saw what happened. Because there were not leaders prepared to take the mantle of authority from him. That party went into chaos. Chaos, it remains in today. Is that why you won, ANC people? If nobody would tell you that, I will tell you that. If nobody would tell you that, Focus on Liberia will tell you that, and we will hold you accountable. Give us participatory democracy. That is why we want. If that message is not simple, then stop wasting our time. Folks, we have a song here. It says we are all Liberians. And that song couldn't be profound. If we are all Liberians in the ANC, then those Liberians will be allowed to participate to run for president too. If we are all Liberians in the United Party, Waka should not be the only one. Isn't that true? Isn't that fair? Isn't that the right thing to do? But you want us to think otherwise. That logic is twisted, and I will not swallow it. That song, we are all Liberians, is taking us home. Until I see you again, I appreciate your disagreement. Until I see you again, I love you for criticizing me. And why don't you love me when I criticize your leaders? You see yourself right there? That song, we are all Liberians, is taking us home. Until I catch you, my name is Anthony Sie. Call me Mwanansie or the Trouble Guy. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home.